So there is inevitable a disappointment, a challenge, and whether or not you will go through this relationship is also how can you manage the
downturn,
and how can you overcome that and make efforts to go back up again.
With or without the person in your life?
No, with the person within the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's like in contrast to being in relationship, for example, Sudan, traditionally that was an arranged marriage. And that is a completely different starting point. You don't start at the top of the mountain, you start at the bottom and then you kind of work your way up together.
Okay.
It's also not a recipe for,
long term
that necessarily has to work, but I do see that my cousins or people that I personally know that have embraced that concept, they have actually much more stable relationships because they've been able to build that up together. And I think it is a much stronger way of staying together than coming from the top of the mountain and
I get the building part from bottom to top. Being an African man, I understand that marriage is not just between two persons. If you're getting married, you get married to me, and then you get married to my family as well. It means that I will treat your family as mine, your mom, equal respect, your dad, your siblings, and stretch further to give them help when need be. If you lost somebody in your family, my family come and sympathize with you. We cry together and we celebrate together. That is how I was trained by my family, and that is how we define marriage to us. So, looking at where we are, we have a lot of brothers and sisters still on the same subject who actually are married to Westerners, and most of those guys are not accepted on the same table with their partner's family, or the girls are not accepted to sit on the same table with whoever they are married to. And do you think really that has a psychological problem on these people not being accepted? Like, hey, because of this white supremacy, this different, this racism.
Most definitely. I can say that out of my own experience, I've never really felt equally treated. I know they would probably protest hearing me say that.
Okay.
But I can tell many facts where I was treated different and I wasn't accepted in the same way, and neither were my children. So those things they have been very painful to me, and are also part of why in the end of the day, there wasn't a long-term future in this union.
Right.
And I would never go for that kind of relationship model again.
Some people will really disagree with you or with me or on this conversation because they have their own, they have their own projection about this marriage thing. Some people say this works for them, and some people say
and for some it does, and some people
So,
make it work for themselves. Fair enough.
If, like you said now, you can't do that again, it means that if you have to settle down right now, you are looking at being with your brother to build up from ground up. All right. But if you go around this our city and say Europe again, I think there are also similar cases where we have us, but we disagree to work together. What is your take on this?
Well, I believe for a strong relationship, regardless of that's a relationship between a man and a woman, or a woman and a woman, or a man and a man, or whichever combination, non-binary, etc. I think the basis for any long-term commitment and relationship is to identify a common purpose. I think without that common purpose, it is very difficult to sustain relationships. And yeah, I wish for myself to find the right person to have that, to identify that common purpose, and within that purpose, to basically work for the same goals and enjoy each other's presence. I've heard of relationships where the husband does things over there and the wife does things over there, and it's like you're not pulling on the same strung and you're almost in competition of one another.
All right.
I don't really wish for a relationship of that sort. I don't really believe in that relationship of that sort. Or, you can be companion, and it can work for you, but that wouldn't be my choice.
Okay. So we wouldn't really have much of questions to ask you again, because from every indication, you've touched the main points that has to do with this cultural thing, the politics involved, and as well the need for us to, look at, be a sister's keeper, if I may say. That's based on your second wish now to say if you have to get married again, you'd rather go for your brother, you know. So at this juncture, I want you to, or I would like for you to at least educate or advise.
Nobody has to get married again. I think that's a choice in our day and age.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There
It's a
isn't
matter of
must.
choice. It's a matter of choice.
For myself, I'd like that, but yeah, because I like the idea of being with a special someone.
So let me ask you something, right? I wanted to, okay, let me just ask you this. So if your son come in right now with a Westerner, what would be your advice to him?
I would respect his choice, because
Okay.
I believe that my son is able to make his own choices. I know he was in a relationship with a white man, and I've respected that.
Right.
He's himself already made that experience. Why he didn't continue in that, you know. But I mean, I'm not somebody who feels like I can prescribe the right kind of people for them. I know
Right.
that my daughter is with a white man, and she's happy within that relationship, and I respect that. I think ultimately everybody have to make their own choice, and I see that up to this moment for my daughter that works, so I respect that. And the guy is a nice guy, absolutely nothing wrong in that sense. But for me personally, that wouldn't work again, because in my life, I do get, I'm at the forefront of hearing about racist incidents. I challenge the system, so I get a fair share continuously of that myself, and I would love to share that part with my partner. And that is not something I can do with a white person that will never ever be able to understand that perspective of mine. And it is an important aspect of mine. And in that sense, yeah, my choice of relationships are within black people of color.
Okay. Black on black people of color, you've heard that already from our own hosts. And madam, are you actually advocating for me to get my sister and for my sister to get his brother to live with? Because right now I see that we still have this challenge amongst us. So one last word before you go. What would be your advice to them for those that, are actually having something going on, black on black?
Uh, I think it's what I said earlier, identifying that common purpose. And I think another one is, of course, communication. Nothing new I have to say there. Then it's very important to be able to understand the feelings, try and understand the feelings of one another. And that cannot happen because anyone can sort of magically read the emotions of another. It can only happen if they are expressed and spoken about. Yeah, I think the thing that sort of disturbs me most in the communication with some of the brothers that I've had experiences with is, you are so and so, 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 so. And then I'm thinking, oh, I'm already aware of the fact that if you tell your person you are da, 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 you are defining them, you are expecting a defense reaction, because if you're going to attack someone, of course the person has the need to defend themselves. So saying, hey, you stay by yourself, what just happened upset me, then the other person can also say, hey, I didn't actually intend to upset you with that. I was maybe in a clumsy way, but I expressed my emotion. And it's a way of learning from one another, because ultimately relationships are about growing and becoming a better person yourself, because it's the very person that will dare to challenge you, that will trigger you. And in that sense, relationships are in that sense also a way to grow spiritually in the kind of wounds that we all carry. No one comes from a perfect home. We all have triggers and wounds, and I think it's very important to be supportive of one another in respect of those wounds, and find ways to not end the day not speaking to each other, but end the day in a way that you make peace and find a way of being yourself, whether you're happy or sad or joyous on a given day, but that you can honor your feeling and show compassion towards each other.
I like the compassion part. I like the communication part. And I also like the ability to merge things together, because I understand that this is one of the biggest problems that we have amongst us. We have different visions, yet we are in a marriage. We have different goals, yet we are in a relationship. And I think that is very, very, very conflicting, because most of the times I have had conversation with a lot of brothers and sisters as well. And I came to a conclusion that truly the people are strangers to themselves, owing to the fact that you cannot be in the same space, but you are hiding something from your partner. You can't communicate. It's like your intentions being there is not to stay, because I think it is only if you are choosing to stay that you want to open up and be transparent. So that comes in play with the communication part, and stand and be there for your partner. So I really want to appreciate you for coming, or letting me into your private space rather. I know it's been a struggle trying to meet up with the appointments that we've had, but we keep skipping because of your schedule. I really appreciate you for taking out this time. And as a tradition, we do not host our guests on Sculpt Quest and then let them go back empty-handed. We actually try to motivate them or appreciate them for taking out the time to be here with us and to be there for our audience as well. And I also saw that you like plants. So I went in to get you some plants on behalf of Sculpt Quest. So do accept this from us, Madam Amal. Do you want to take a look?
Yes, of course. I'm very curious what this behind this pink paper.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So our host, our audience too can also see this. When I was getting
very
this,
prickly. I don't have a cactus yet.
Yeah.
It's a very strong phallic symbol.
My grandmom told me cactus sends away evil spirits.
Okay.
So this is for you, and I really want to appreciate you again once more. And I hope time spent with us was really like educating. So thank you once more, and we hope to see us again. Ciao.
Ciao.